All right, thanks, guys. The Bulls take on the Wizards, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off in the nation's capital. Washington open minus 11.5, total 228. Just a little bit of movement downward on the total in this one, 227.5. So once again, Wizards open 11.5. They remain minus 11.5. Total open 228, down to 227 and a hook. 60% of the consensus is leaning towards Chicago. 79% shaded toward the under. Right now, the Bulls are plus 530 on the money line. Now let's take a look at the injury report. With Porter doubtful, Levine out, and Dunn also doubtful for Chicago. With that in mind, Chicago is 2-1 against the number, taking on Washington this year. They're also 21-18 against the spread on the road. The Wizards on the other side, ranked 27th in offensive rebounding. They're also just 24th in shooting the three ball and second to last in points allowed. Washington's also lost 6 out of their last 8 games. They're just 2-6 against the spread in their last 8, taking on Chicago if you're into historical trends. They also rank 29th in defensive rebounding. Now, total-wise, Washington is 5-2 to the over in their last 7, taking on the Bulls. This Washington offense is putting up 117 points per contest, so I think we might see a little bit more scoring than you might think. But with all that said and done, I'm going to purchase the hook, buy it up, and take Chicago plus 12 in the over 227.5 in that matchup there. And before we go ahead and move on, just want to quickly take a timeout and welcome you to the show. Got some lines and personal leans out for Wednesday's NBA, college basketball, NHL, and MLB action. It is hump day. We are almost there. But before we go ahead and move on, just want to quickly remind you to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage, where we do picks and different memberships. It's a lot of fun. It's a great time. And just to let you know, since the beginning of Major League Baseball, we've only lost 1 game on that website. There's also plenty of free content there as well. So hit that pause button right now, open up your browser, and just type in patreon.com/BrockPage. It'll only take you a couple of seconds. The link is in the description section below. And let's go ahead and hop back into some more lines and personal leans. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And on deck, we've got Pacers, Pistons. 7 o'clock tip-off in Detroit. The Pistons open -1, no total as of yet. And since those markets opened this one up, we're seeing a little bit of action on Detroit. They moved up to 1.5. So once again, the Pistons open 1, up to -1.5. No total on this one. Matthews and Collison are listed as out for the Pacers. Kennard is listed as doubtful for Detroit. And Blake Griffin is questionable. You haven't seen him much on the injury report this year, but Blake Griffin, questionable for tonight's action. Now, Detroit is 4-1 against the number in their last 5. They're also 8-2 against the spread in their last 10. They rank 7th in the NBA in points allowed. They also rank 6th in defensive rebounding. Now, Indiana on the other side, they've covered just 3 out of their last 8. They've also won just 17 out of their last 39 straight up away from home. The Pacers rank 23rd in road offensive scoring. They also rank 26th in road offensive rebounding. I'm going to lean toward the slight home favorite in this matchup here. I'm also going to purchase the half a point, slide it down, and take Detroit -1, getting the job done against the number in that one. Probably going to be a close one. I'm going to project a final score of 109 to 106. That's what I'm going with there. All right, next game. Knicks Magic, 7 o'clock tip-off in Orlando. The Magic open -12, total 212. We're seeing movement upward on both the spread and the total in this one. -12.5 and 212 and a hook. So once again, Orlando open -12, up to -12.5. Total open 212, up to 212 and a hook. 53% are leaning Orlando, 76% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Knicks are plus 750 on the money line. Now, if you like the Knicks in the spot here, I just got to remind you that Vonleh is out for tonight's action, and Smith is doubtful. Having said that, though, wow, I'm going to make the case for New York here, aren't I? Orlando's failed to cover in 2 out of their last 3. The Magic are also ranking 25th in scoring, 22nd in offensive field goal percentage. They're also covering just 48% of their games when laying the points, and they've only covered 13 out of 28, taking on teams under 450. Now, when it comes to the total, Orlando's 4-2 to the over in their last 6. New York 5-3 to the over in their last 8. I'm going to purchase the half a point, buy it up, and take the Knicks plus 13 and the over 212.5 in that matchup there. Can't wait to see the comments on that one. That will not be a popular decision. All right, next game, Raptors Nets. 7:30 Eastern tip-off in Brooklyn. Toronto's -1.5, no total in this one. Danny Green's questionable for the Raptors. OG Anunoby's also listed as out for Toronto tonight. Meanwhile, on the other side, Allen Crabbe always finds his way on that injury report. Allen Crabbe is listed as questionable for the Nets. Brooklyn's dropped 6 out of their last 9. They're also just 1-14 straight up in their last 15, taking on Toronto. If you're into historical trends, Brooklyn ranks 24th in offensive field goal percentage. They're also 25th in defensive rebounding. Now, when it comes to the total, we're looking at 4-1. When it comes to Toronto, we're looking at 4-1 straight up in their last 5. They've also successfully covered the number in 5 out of their last 7 on the road. They rank 5th in road offensive scoring. So with all that in mind, I'm going to lean toward the road favorite in this matchup here. I'm also going to purchase the hook, slide it down, and take Toronto -1. Getting the job done against the number. Probably going to be a close game, guys. I'm thinking 113-111 Toronto in that matchup there. Next game, Sixers, Hawks. 7:30 tip-off in Atlanta. Once again, no total on this game. Philadelphia is -5.5. Jimmy Butler is questionable for tonight's action for the Sixers. Joel Embiid listed as out. I believe he is resting for a couple days. I think it's about 2 days, 2 or 3 games where he will not see action just for rest. Not a bad decision there by Coach Brett Brown. On the other side, Atlanta, well, Prince and Collins are listed as doubtful for the Hawks. Atlanta's also just 16-23 straight up at home. They've covered just 17 out of 39 games on their home court as well. They rank dead last in points allowed. They also rank 26th in defensive field goal percentage. This Atlanta defense is allowing 119.4 points per contest on their home court. They rank 27th in home defensive rebounding. Now, Philadelphia, on the other side, they are 7-3 straight up in their last 10. They also rank 3rd in road defensive rebounding. I'm going to purchase the hook, buy it down, and lean Philadelphia -5. Getting the job done against the number in this one, I'm thinking 118-112 in that matchup there. All right, next game, Celtics, Heat. 7 o'clock tip-off in Miami. Boston Open -2. No total on this one as of yet. Kind of coming down on the home stretch here. A lot of guys sitting out, not playing, banged up. We see this a lot this time of year. But once again, Boston Open -2, down to -1.5. Al Horford and Morris are listed as questionable. Brown is doubtful. All those for Boston, by the way. Meanwhile, on the other side, Miami, we have Winslow, Richardson, Magruder, all questionable for tonight's action, and Jones is listed as out. He will not be playing. Now, Miami is 7-2 against the spread in their last 9. They're also 5-0 against the number in their last 5, taking on Boston. They rank 9th in offensive rebounding and 3rd in points allowed. Miami also ranks 2nd in defensive field goal percentage at 44% in that category there. They also rank 7th in defensive rebounding. Now, Boston, on the other side, is just 1-4 straight up in their last 5 on the road. They've successfully failed to cover in 5 out of their last 6. They've also covered just 15 out of 38 games away from home this year. One more thing to note about Boston. They rank 24th in road offensive rebounding. So with all that in mind, I think the home dog will at least cover in this matchup here. I'm going to buy the hook buy that thing up and take Miami +2, getting the job done against the number. I'm predicting a final score of 105 to 104. Either way, doesn't matter. 105, 104, that's your final. In my opinion, Miami covers either way. Next game, Charlotte Pelicans. 8 o'clock Eastern tip-off in New Orleans. Charlotte is -2.5 on the road, total 231 and a hook. Marvin Williams is doubtful for Charlotte. Cody Zeller is questionable for Charlotte. Meanwhile, the New Orleans side, well, Anthony Davis is questionable. You never know when he's going to play. We've been through this before. Randall's also questionable for the Pels, and Jackson is listed as out for New Orleans. Now, if you like New Orleans in this matchup here, it still might not be a bad spot for you. They're taking on a Hornets team who's 0-3 straight up in their last trio of ball games. They've won just 11 out of 38 games away from home this year. They also rank 27th in offensive field goal percentage and 23rd in offensive rebounding. A couple more things to add about Charlotte, which are quite disparaging. They rank 24th in defensive field goal percentage. They're also just 3-7 straight up in their last 10 versus New Orleans if you're into historical trends. And they rank second to last in road defensive field goal percentage. Now, New Orleans, on the other side, they are third in scoring, 6th in field goal percentage, and 5th in offensive rebounding. Now, total-wise, Charlotte is 4-2 to the under in their last 6 on the road. I'm going to lean toward the home dog in this one. Give me the Pelicans -3 after buying the half a point, and the under 231.5 in that matchup there. Next game, Timberwolves Mavericks, 8:30 Eastern tip-off in Dallas. The T-Wolves are -1, totals 222. We have Gibson listed as out for Minnesota. Luka Doncic is questionable for Dallas. Dallas is 23-15 straight up at home this year, 23-15 against the spread in that same category. Dallas is 7th in home defensive rebounding. They are 3rd in defending the 3-ball at home as well. Minnesota on the other side, just 2-8 straight up in their last 10. They're also 2-8 against the spread in that same category. They're ranked 27th in road points allowed. They rank dead last in defending the 3-ball on the road as well. And when it comes to the scoring, Minnesota is 3-1 to the over in their last 4. Dallas 5-4 to the over in their last 9. Give me the home dog in this one. I'm going to lean Dallas +1 and the over 222 in that matchup there. Next game, Spurs Nuggets, 9 o'clock Eastern tip-off in the Mile High City. Denver open -5, total 213.5. And since those markets opened this one up, we're seeing a slight fade of Denver with regard to the spread. We're also seeing movement downward on the total, down to 213. So once again, Denver open 5, down to -4.5. Total open 213.5, down to 213 flat. 54% are leaning Denver, 67% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Spurs are +155 on the money line. Now, if you like the Spurs in this matchup here, I got to tell you, they're 0-4 against the spread in their last 4. They've also failed to cover in 6 out of their last 7 games. They've won just 14 out of 38 away from home this year. They rank 24th in road defensive field goal percentage. The Spurs, well, they've also covered just 10 out of 23 as the official road underdog, and they are 6-7 against the spread at the current number. Now, on the other side, we're looking at a completely different story. We're looking at a Denver team who's covering 73% of their games in the second of a back-to-back. They're also 21-14 against the spread as the official home favorite. One more thing to note, Denver ranks 3rd in home points allowed, 1st in defending the 3-ball at home, and they are 1st in home defensive rebounding. Now, total-wise, San Antonio is 75% to the over in their second of a back-to-back this year. They're also 65% to the over when traveling. I'm going to purchase the half a point, as always. Slide it down and take Denver -4 and the over 213 in that matchup there. Next game, Grizzlies, Blazers, 10 o'clock Portland. The Trailblazers are minus 10.5, total 216 and a hook. Noah's questionable. Conley's doubtful for Memphis. McCollum's still out indefinitely for Portland. Portland ranks second in offensive rebounding, third in defensive rebounding, third in home offensive scoring. Memphis has lost 6 out of their last 9. They've also won just 11 out of 38 away from home. They rank dead last in road scoring. Total-wise, Memphis is 7-2 to the over in their last 9. Portland 4-2 to the over in their last 6. Give me Portland minus 10 after buying the hook in the over 216.5 in that matchup there. Next game, Jazz, Suns, 10 o'clock, Phoenix. Utah open minus 9, up to minus 9.5. Totals 219 and a hook. Korver's out for Utah. Favors out for Utah. Crowder questionable for the Jazz. Meanwhile, on the other side, Phoenix has Johnson listed as out. Holmes is questionable. DeAndre Ayton is out tonight. Not good for Suns backers. Phoenix is 18-60 straight up overall for the year. They rank dead last in offensive rebounding. Meanwhile, Utah on the other side is 9-1 straight up in their last 10, taking on Phoenix if you're into historical trends. Utah is also first in road defensive rebounding. When it comes to scoring, Utah is 60% to the under in their last 10. Phoenix is scoring just 106 points per contest at the Talking Stick Resort Arena, home of the red hot dice tables. I don't know. I've never been there. That's a lie. I'm sure they get hot at some point. But anyway, give me Utah minus 9 after buying the half a point and the under 219.5 in that matchup there. Next and final game for the show, it is going to be Houston Clippers, 10:30 Eastern tip-off in Los Angeles. The Clippers open minus 2, total 228.5. And since those markets opened this one up, we're seeing movement downward on the spread and upward on the total. 1.5 and 229. So once again, LA open 2, down the minus 1.5. Total open 228.5 up to 229. 65% are leaning Los Angeles, 78% shaded toward the over. Right now, Houston's plus 102 on the money line. We have Green and Fareed both out indefinitely for Houston. The Rockets are also just 16-23 against the spread when traveling. The Rockets are 5-6 against the spread in their second of a back-to-back, and they failed to cover in their 2 games against the Clippers this year. Now, a couple more things to add derogatory about Houston. They rank 28th in offensive rebounding and 22nd in offensive field goal percentage. Now, for the Clippers on the other side, they rank 5th in home scoring. They're also 2nd in shooting the 3-ball at home, and they are 6-1 against the spread in their last 7. Now, total-wise, Houston's 80% to the under in their last 10. I'm going to purchase the hook, slide it down, and take the Clippers minus 1 and the under 229 in that matchup there. All right, let's go ahead and slide into some college basketball. We just have one game, not even on the board. It's one of the phantom tournaments. I told you guys yesterday, I can't keep them straight. We have the NIT and then the other one, which I mistaken for CBD, which it's not the cannabis oil tournament. I forget what it's called. Let me know what it's called in the comment section, because I forget what this tourney is called. But anyway, whatever it is, we got a big showdown in it tonight, and we're talking about USF taking on DePaul. And that's going to be an 8 o'clock Eastern tip-off at the McGrath-Phillips Arena. Now, the Blue Demons of DePaul open the betting as the 4.5-point favorite, total at 146. We're seeing pretty good movement on this one, both on the spread and the total. 1-point move on the spread, half a point move on the total, 5.5 and 146 and a hook. So once again, DePaul open 4.5 up to minus 5.5. Total open 146 up to 146 and a hook. 52% are leaning DePaul, 61% shaded toward the under. Right now, the Bulls are plus 215 on the money line. Now, if you like the Bulls of Southern Florida in this matchup here, they're 3-0 against the number in their last 3. They're also 22-13 against the spread overall for the year. I was actually just down by USF like 3 weeks ago. So, beautiful area down there. Anyway, random, what's that? Not OCD, ADD, right? Anyway, USF, they rank 30th in college basketball in offensive rebounding. They're also 13th in road defensive rebounding They're covering 69% of their games away from home this year. A couple more things to add about the battling Bulls of USF. They're covering 75% of their games that tipped off at the current point spread. They're also 8-3 against the spread as the official road underdog, and they're a perfect 4-0 against the spread, taking on teams between 500 and 650. Now, DePaul on the other side, they failed to cover in 5 out of their last 7, taking on teams allowing less than 67 points per contest. The Blue Demons have also covered just 4 out of their last 11, taking on teams between 500 and 650, which of course is a win percentage. And they have failed to cover in 7 out of their last 10 ball games. A couple more disparaging things about DePaul, which totally degrades their value as a formidable play. DePaul ranks 214th in college basketball in points allowed, 192nd in defensive field goal percentage, and 241st in defending the 3 ball. Now, total-wise, USF is 3-0 to the under in their last 3. I'm going to purchase the hook, slide it up, and take the battling Bulls of USF, Southern Florida, +6 in the under 146.5 in that matchup there. All right, let's slide into some hockey. Nice short slate, so we're going to do a full slate of hockey games tonight. And we're going to begin with Senators, Rangers, 7:30 Eastern, puck drop in New York. The Rangers open -230, total at 6. And we're seeing a 60-cent fade of New York. I'm not real surprised about that. As bad as Ottawa's been, I'm not surprised about that because the Rangers, at what point this year should they ever open up as the $2.30 favorite? Might be a typo. I might have wrote it down wrong. That's unbelievable. Anyway, 60-cent fade of the Rangers. They're down to -170. So once again, New York open 230, down to -170. Totals at 6. 65% of the consensus is leaning toward the Rangers. 81% shaded toward the under. Right now, Ottawa's +145 on the money line. Rangers +155 on the puck line. We have Nilsson projected in net for Ottawa. Lundqvist projected in net for the Rangers. New York 62% as the official home favorite. Ottawa on the other side, they're winning just 25% of their games as the official road underdog. When it comes to the total, New York 61% of the over, taking on teams averaging more than 2.9 goals per contest. So although they've seen a 60-cent fade, a very heavy fade, I think it's really the only play to make if you want to bet the sides. I mean, I just can't take Ottawa on the road here. Give me the Rangers -1.5 in the over 6 goals in that matchup there. Next game, Blues, Blackhawks, 8 o'clock, puck drop in Chicago. Seattle open 160, total 5.5. And since those markets opened this one up, we saw a 15-cent fade of St. Louis when it comes to the sides. They're down to -145. So once again, St. Louis open 160, down to -145. Totals 5.5. We have Binnington in net for St. Louis, Crawford in net for the Blackhawks. St. Louis is 6-1 straight up in their last 7. They're also first in road goals allowed. Meanwhile, Chicago on the other side, they are dead last in home goals allowed, giving up just a ton of scoring opportunities to their opponents. Now, total-wise, Chicago 79% of the over, taking on teams allowing 2.6 to 2.9 goals per contest. Pretty chalky play here. Give me St. Louis -145 and the over 5.5 goals in that matchup there. Next and final game for our hockey slate. It is going to be Flames, Ducks, 10:30 Eastern, puck drop in Anaheim. Calgary open 160, total 5.5. Since that one opened up, no real surprises here. Calgary takes a little money. We saw a 15-cent move toward the Flames when it comes to the money line up to 175. So once again, Calgary open 160, up to -175. Totals 5.5. 68% are leaning Calgary, 67% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Ducks are +150 on the money line. Calgary +150, laying the goal and a half. Riddick for the Flames, Gibson for the Ducks. Calgary's winning 75% of their games, taking on teams under 450. They're also winning an amazing 86% of their games played at the current market price. Once again, they're winning an amazing 86% of their games played at the current market price. Meanwhile, Anaheim on the other side, they're winning just 21% of their games, taking on teams allowing 2.6 to 2.9 goals per contest. When it comes to the total, Calgary's 5-2 to the under on the road when the line's 5.5. Only play I can make here because I think it's going under. Give me Calgary minus 175 and the under 5.5 goals in that matchup there. All right, let's slide into our next and final slate for the show, and it is going to be in Major League Baseball. We're going to start off with the Phils taking on the Nats. 105 Eastern first pitch in the nation's capital. The Phillies open minus 120, total 7.5. And since those markets open this one up, we're seeing money on the Phils, 20-cent move toward the Fightins. We're also seeing movement upward on the total, up to an even 8 runs. So once again, the Phillies open 120, up to minus 140. Total open 7.5, up to 8. Washington's plus $1.25 on the money line. We have Nola projected on the mound for Philly. Sanchez projected on the mound for Washington. Nola's 1-0 with a 1.5 ERA in his lone start for the season. Now, Washington's 1-3 overall for the year. They ranked 29th in Major League Baseball in strikeouts. Meanwhile, Philly, on the other side, they ranked 2nd in runs scored, and they are 4-0, undefeated so far in their 4 games this year. Now, total-wise, both teams are 3-1 to the over overall this season. Give me the Fightin' Phils minus 140 and the over 8 runs in that matchup there. Next game, White Sox Indians, 110 Eastern first pitch in Cleveland. Cleveland open 205, down to minus 200. Totals at 7. 66% are leaning Cleveland, 56% shaded toward the under. Right now, the White Sox are plus 165 on the money line. Rodon on the bump for the White Sox. Kluber on the bump for Cleveland. Rodon's 0-1 with a 3.38 ERA in one start. Corey Kluber 0-1 with a 2.57 ERA in his lone start as well. Cleveland ranks 26th in runs scored at just 2.5 a game. I think the White Sox can hang in there with them. Give me the White Sox plus 1.5 and the over 7 runs in that matchup there. Next game. We got a blank. That's got to be my game. Of course it is. Detroit taking on the Yankees. 4:05 Eastern first pitch at Yankee Stadium. The Yanks open 185, total 8.5. Pretty good movement in this one. Nickel move toward the Yankees when it comes to the money line, and a 1-run move upward on the total, up to 9.5. So once again, the Yankees open 185, up to minus 190. Total open 8.5, up to 9.5. 57% are leaning Yankees, 51% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Tigers are plus 165 on the money line. Boyd on the mound for Detroit. Loaiziga projected for the Yankees. Boyd's 0-1 with a 5.40 ERA in one start this season. I think Detroit should keep it close here. I like them catching the 1.5 because I think this one's going to stay under the total. Give me Detroit plus 1.5, getting the job done on the run line, and the under 9.5 runs in that matchup there. Next game, it is going to be Mets Marlins. 6:10 Eastern first pitch in South Beach. The Mets open 220, down to minus 210. Totals at 7. 69% are leaning Mets, 60% shaded toward the under. Right now, the Marlins are plus 185 on the money line. We have Jake DeGrom slated on the bump for the Mets. We have Richards projected for the Marlins. DeGrom's 1-0, 0 ERA. Did not give up a run in his first start. Richards, no decision in his first start. He's at a 1.5 ERA himself. I think you could throw that all out the window. I think these bullpens are going to blow it up, especially for the Marlins. The Mets might put it over themselves, but I think these bullpens, we're going to see a lot of pitches, kind of a weird start time. Just going on a whim here, guys. Give me Miami plus 1.5 in the over 9 runs in that matchup there. I know that will not be a popular decision. Let me know what you think about that pick in the comment section below. I got a feeling that you won't be happy with it. All right, next and final game for the show. It is going to be Boston, Oakland, 10:07 Eastern first pitch in the Bay Area. Great series here. Boston open minus 140, total 8.5. We're seeing a 10-cent fade of Boston when it comes to the money line. I'm not real surprised about that movement there. We're also seeing movement upward on the total as well. Not real surprised about that either. We're looking at minus 130 and 9 flat. So once again, the Red Sox open -140, down to -130. Total open 8.5, up to 9. 52% are leaning Oakland, 76% shaded toward the under. Right now, the A's are +115 on the money line. Nathan Eovaldi projected on the bump for Boston. Estrada slated for Oakland. Both pitchers had a no decision in their original starts. Both pitchers 0-0. Estrada, pretty good outing. He's at a 2.45 ERA. Eovaldi got banged up a little bit. He's at a 10.8 ERA, but his team did not lose. The Red Sox did get the job done in his original start. So he's 0-0 for the year, but the Red Sox are officially 1-0 when Nathan Eovaldi makes the start. All that said, though, Oakland, well, they're giving up just 2.8 runs per contest. They got some bats they can hit. This should be a pretty exciting game. I think it's going to go over the 9. But give me Oakland +115, getting the job done at home, and the over 9 runs in that matchup there. All right, folks, that is going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on patreon.com/BrockPage. Remember, I've only lost 1 game since the baseball season started, so you're certainly costing yourself some valuable information each and every day you're not subscribed to that webpage. Most importantly, though, regardless of if you go to Patreon, I know I'm imploring you to go there, but you don't have to. The most important thing is that you're with me right now, and I thank you for watching today's program. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free information. But if you have some spare time, don't forget to check me out at patreon.com/BrockPage.